A very good morning, students. Welcome to Capstone IAS Academy. In today's session, in today's session, we are going to talk about 8th July 2021 editorials. We will try to cover editorials from the Hindu, the Indian Express, the Times of India, and multiple other papers. The idea is that from main's point of view, you should know what are the topics that are appearing in newspaper. How do we tackle those topics? How do we make sure we are able to write good answer in mains and also try to extract whatever is important for our prelims? So let's start. First topic of the day. Here we are going to talk about plasmid DNA vaccine. What is it? Plasmid DNA vaccine. Obviously, the topic is of GS3, that is science and technology. Article appeared in News 18 as well as Business Line. You need not have to read about Business Line or News 18. That is our job. Keywords are ZyCoV-D, plasmid, DNA, spike protein, and eukaryotes. Let's start. ZyCoV-D vaccine. I'm sure in your newspaper, you might have heard about this new vaccine called ZyCoV-D. Recently, India's pharmaceutical major, that is Zydus Cadila, has sought an emergency approval for plasmid DNA vaccine, which it calls as ZyCoV-D. Plasmid DNA vaccine. Now, what do you understand by plasmid? From the prelims point of view, please understand plasmid is a small circular double-stranded DNA molecule. They naturally exist in bacterial cell. They also occur in some of the eukaryotes. The genes carried in the plasmid, that means the genetic material in the plasmid, provides bacteria with a very good genetic advantage, such as that they are antibiotic resistance. And when this bacterium divides, the plasmid within the cell are copied to each new plasmid. So this helps whenever the virus even mutates. Okay, so bacteria can also transfer plasmid to one another through a process called conjugation. So there's a lot of genetic material transfer, which is an important thing for the scientists to fight against diseases. Scientists have taken this advantage of plasmids to use them as a tool to clone. What do you mean by clone? When you create an exact replica is what we call clone. So what scientists is using that? They're using the advantage of the plasmid to clone and manipulate the genes. Plasmids that are used experimentally for the use of the purpose are called vectors, right? They are vectors, they transfer, they clone. Now what can happen is that the scientists can insert a DNA fragment into the plasmid, and the plasmid can be introduced into the bacteria. And because the bacteria divide rapidly, the plasmid will divide rapidly, and the DNA fragment will also get copied to fight with diseases. How is this DNA vaccine developed? Very simple. Antigen section of the virus is identified. Spike protein of the SARS-CoV virus, that is this virus protein, that is SARS-CoV-2 virus, we identify that. Then DNA is encoded for the antigen, which they synthesize is chemically. Then after synthesizing it chemically, they insert into the bacterial plasmid with the help of enzymes. Then the multiple copies are created and the process gets standardized for the vaccine material. We have created the vaccine. What next now? How does the vaccine work inside the body? The plasmid DNA, which carries the identified sequence of spike protein, So what I was trying to tell you was, okay, how do we insert into the body the plasmid DNA, which carries an identified sequence of spike protein, is entered, is identified, and they enter the host cell. Inside the cell, it goes into the nucleus, and the coded DNA instruct the cell through the messenger RNA. This is a postman. He carries how the next kind of proteins to be manufactured to fight with the vaccine. Now, what happens is that the protein that is synthesized appears on the surface of the human cell, and the host human cell gets activated and start producing antibodies, which will basically fight with the virus. Very technical, but very, very important. You need to go through multiple times to understand this. What are the advantages of DNA or RNA vaccine? Advantage number one, they take care of the mutation. The vaccine material can be easily adapted to deal with the mutation. Ease of manufacturing, that is DNA, RNA vaccine are considered cost effective and they are very easy to manufacture, and no live components. Since there is no risk of the vaccine triggering disease. Sometimes what happens, like in polio, there are chances of vaccine itself triggering the disease, and here that is not going to happen. What are the difference between DNA and RNA? DNA molecule in comparison to RNA is stable, long life, so you don't have to take shots again and again. But developing a DNA vaccine is very difficult. And the third thing is that DNA vaccine find it harder to get inside the cell and accepted by the protein making system. So it takes a lot of time for the body to take them and use them for making the proteins. Okay, that's with your topic. Moving on to the second topic, which is also about the COVID, but very, very important. As a part of GS2, you can expect the question coming in the mains for this particular topic. Article appeared in multiple papers, so let's talk about it. Keywords includes all the types of vaccines that we have. Presently, we have whole virus inactivated vaccine, mRNA, non-replicating viral vector vaccine, protein subunit vaccine, and plasmid DNA vaccine. Now, if you look at whole virus inactivated vaccine, very good examples are Covaxin, Sinopharm, and Sinovac. What is the mechanism? The whole virus inactivated vaccine, that's the first kind, uses a killed form of pathogen, that is inactivated virus, that causes COVID-19 to trigger productive immunity. This genetic material in the inactivated vaccine has already been destroyed either with the help of heat or chemical or radiation. So they cannot infect the cell and replicate, but they help in triggering the immune response from the body. Example, hepatitis A, IPV vaccine, inactivated polio vaccine are the example. What are the advantages? They are well established, proven technology. We're using it for hepatitis, for polio from long time. There is no live component, so there is no risk of vaccine triggering the disease. Easy to manufacture, suitable for the people with compromised immune system. That means if their immune system is very weak, and they're very, very stable also. Disadvantages, you need to give short boosters. That means you may have to give vaccine again and again. That's the one disadvantage. Now, another issue, disadvantage is that while you manufacture these kind of vaccine, high degree of biosafety precautions should be required, right? They are outdated, several innovations are required, and mutation of the vaccine becomes very, very difficult to tackle. Okay. The second type of vaccine are non-replicating viral vector vaccine. Example, Oxford AstraZeneca, that is Covishield, and Sputnik. What is the mechanism? The mechanism is that the viral vector, that is adenovirus we call it, act as a delivery system. Once injected into the body, These vectors carry a genetic material, a kind of message, and they are inserted inside the nuclei. Then human cell manufacture the antigen, that is spike protein in case of SARS-CoV-2. In case of SARS-CoV-2, human cell manufactures spike protein. When this appears on the surface of the cell, the immune system detects it as a foreign antigen and start producing immune response to it. Advantages: very well established proven technology, strong immune response because there are B cell, T cell who are trying to protect your body. Disadvantages: previous exposure to the vector could reduce the effectiveness. If there has already been an infected person and we are giving him the vaccine, then it may not be that much helpful. Relatively complex to manufacture. You have seen it. It was very difficult to develop the corona vaccine, right? And scalability is another problem. It's not that easy to produce numbers in big. The third is mRNA vaccine. Example, Pfizer, Biotech, and Moderna. What is the mechanism? The COVID-19 mRNA vaccine consists of messenger RNA molecule made in laboratory. The code for the part of SARS-CoV-2 virus, especially the spike protein of the virus. Okay. Once injected into the body, the mRNA instructs the cell to produce the antigen. Is that nothing but spike protein? These are then detected by immune system and they trigger a immune response. Got the idea? Rather than giving the virus, we give a code, and that code triggers the immune response. Advantages: no live components are used, so risk is less, reliability is very high. Relatively simple to manufacture, easy to scale up. Disadvantages: ensuring effective delivery into the body is very difficult since RNA or since free RNA in the body is quickly broken down. So as soon as you enter, the body just break it down, right? Then there are problems with storage. You require very low temperature, not helpful for developing countries and poor countries like India. Okay, that's another problem. Fourth is protein subunit vaccine. Example, Novavax. What is the mechanism? In the protein subunit vaccine, it contains purified pieces of pathogen rather than the whole pathogen. So rather than an entire pathogen, only a small part of the pathogen is taken out to trigger the immune response. It is taught by the restricting the immune system to the whole pathogen. The risk of side effects is also minimized because right now we are only tackling the part of that pathogen rather than the whole pathogen. Well established technology, right? Very good for low immune system people. No live components, so no problem of triggering the disease itself, relatively stable. Disadvantages: relatively complex to manufacture, boost of multiple shots may required, and the best combination takes time. Now, that's all with respect to your COVID details. Very important so that you can basically take this topics in your mains. It has covered everything about your COVID details, even very important for your general knowledge. Now, moving on to the next part of the topic. Now we have seen the cases of police torture and people dying. So reduce the police torture. There has been now call for scientific investigation rather than giving torture to the people, which is inhuman in nature. Okay. Article appeared in the Hindu. So let's try to understand that. If you look at police torture, torture elicits unreliable confession. People can tend to confess anything because of the problem of torture. It destroys the process of decision making through evidence-based means because you are forcing people to accept the crime, right? The accused might be real or not, but he accepts to get away from the torture. Another important problem with the torture is that it is very difficult to take up the police responsible because permission is required before the public servant can be prosecuted for the act done in the course of their work. As per official statistic, the custodial debt vary from 100 to 200 every year, and this is just the official figure. Unofficial could be very high. Okay, 40% of the complaints received by National Human Rights Commission are actually against the police for the torture only. Now, another problem is that there is no definition of torture in Indian Penal Code. Torture is not defined in the Indian Penal Code. However, for definition of hurt, grievous hurt are clearly laid down. Though the definition of hurt does not include mental torture, Indian courts have included psychic torture as another unnecessary lengthy progress of process of interrogation. Now, under the CRPC, that is under the Code of Criminal Procedure, a judicial magistrate inquires into the every custodial death. That means if there has been a custodial death, the judicial magistrate will definitely inquire. Now, there is a small treaty that we need to understand from the mains point of view. That is UNCAT, the United Nations Convention Against Torture. It has stringent legal framework that is aligned with and committed with the principle of international law. India is a signatory in 1947, but is yet to ratify. UNCAT aims to prevent torture and other acts of cruel on human and any kind of punishment done on human. There has also been a lot of various Supreme Court cases that we need to understand. First, in the Raghbir Singh versus State of Haryana, 1980, the Supreme Court said that reoccurrence of police torture results in terrible scares in the mind of common citizen, and it is against the human rights. In Francis Corel Mulin was a Union Territory of Delhi and Sheila Barse was a state of Maharashtra, the Supreme Court condemned cruelty torture under violation of Article 21, that is right to personal liberty. Supreme Court through its judgment in 1994 and 1997, that is Jogendra Kumar was a state of UP and DK Basu was a state of West Bengal, has already issued guidelines to secure two rights, right to life and right to know. The court tried to ensure that accused person is made aware of all critical information regarding his or her arrest and also to his family as well as the lawyer. In the past, there has also been different judicial interventions, stress upon scientific investigation like narco analysis, ensuring video recording of the investigation and closed circuit television camera inside the police station. Another important factor to remember here is local magistrate is the focal person. It is the local magistrate before whom all the arrest and the detained person must be produced within 24 hours. He becomes the portion of the first contact of the citizen within the constitution rule of the law. In spite of all the safeguards, custodian deaths are still taking place. In 2017, the Law Commission submitted its report about drafting a torture law so that we save the life of people. And we need to now move to the conclusion. The conclusion is very simple. Right now, we require robust torture law with police reform is the need of the hour. The police need to be trained better. The temptation to use a third-degree method must be replaced with scientific skill. And the need of the hour is to strike at the root cause of the problem and implement the recommendation of the various commissions. Next topic. Cooperative private sector startups behind the flourishing milk sector. It appeared in GS3, news article Indian Express, keywords Amul, cooperative dairy, etc. Now let's talk about Amul. Amul has raised the milk prices by 2 rupees, and this works about 4% of the existing price. It is well below the increase in the overall consumer price index, which has already crossed the tolerance limit of 6%. Now, why milk sector is important for the small and the marginal farmer? Because it is the backbone of agriculture sector in India. Milk is our biggest agriculture commodity in terms of value. It is greater than rice, wheat, sugarcane put together. India is the largest producer of milk in the world. We produce 208 million tons of in 2021. The dairy sector is dominated by small farmers. Average herd size is 4 to 5 animals. There is no minimum support price for milk. The price of the milk is largely determined by the overall forces of demand and supply. The overall growth in the dairy sector in the last 20 years is 4 to 5%, and it is accelerated to even 6% in comparison to any other agriculture products. We all remember Operation Flood that started in 1970, which is transforming the sector, steered by Verghese Kurien. However, even after 5 decades, cooperative process only 10% of the overall milk production. We have very low processing capacity. What about organized private sector? The doors of the private sector were open in 1991, but fully in 2002 and 3 when Atal Bihari was the prime minister. Then the dairy sector was completely delicensed. That time we recorded a growth rate of 4.7%, and in the year 2021, it has been increased to 6%. Hudson Agro Product, based in Tamil Nadu, is the largest private dairy in the company in India, right, with about 20 processing plants. Now, what are the other problem issues that have come with the dairypreneurs, that is people who use dairy entrepreneurs? Several startups have come into the dairy. Country Delight is one such company that delivers fresh milk. Stepal's Technologies digitize cattle health, milk production, milk procurement. Hydrogreens and Agritech startup provide solution to the green fodder deficit through Kambala and hydroponic green fodder unit with respect to. Then we also are looking at the sex semen technology that is also expanding widely. Sex semen technology helps in predetermining the sex of offspring by sorting X and Y. This solves the problem of unwanted bulls on the Indian road. Maharashtra taking a bold step. We have done it in the last class also by subsidizing high costs of artificial insemination. Now, what needs to be done? Let the prices of the milk be determined by the market. Government should not interfere. The major focus should be innovation, cut down the costs, better breed, better fodder, and health of the animal. This will help both the farmer as well as consumer. Another thing required is processing. Right now we have producing enough milk, but what we need to do is process enough milk. The more the milk we process, the better income we are going to get through the farmers. Okay, so that's up for today. This is an editorial video. We will also have a short current video very soon. Take care. All the best. Goodbye.